Wednesday the 4th of September. Now, as promised, I'm going to make a little video of our ponies, and as you can see I have them all together and alongside my cattle. Now they're not in with the cattle, as I find ponies to be that little bit brattish, especially my ponies anyhow. They tend to get a little bit excited when they're around the cattle, and they may quite possibly run them across the wire. So what I'm doing is, and this is what I was on for doing at the beginning of the year, but at the start of the year, this mare here was slightly tinnish. There's her foal there. So this lady was slightly tinnish, so I wanted to give her the best ground. And I have a yearling colt over here who is slightly tinnish. We'll talk about him now in a while. So he's a year and a half. He was slightly tinnish as well. So what I had done at the start of the year was to give these good ground, that I had a few gardens that I wanted grazed off. So I did that. So now that they are grazed off and in recovery, I have decided that I'm going to do what I said I would do at the start of the year, and that's to follow after the cattle with my ponies. So yeah, that's what we're at. The story is with the mares and the foals is, this is my foal. This foal here is by Prince Richard. Now I have to try and remember all these names. Prince Richard, she is a filly foal, and she is the daughter of Luna here, who is a Murphy Oscar mare. A Murphy Oscar mare who her mother was out of Drumlane Warrior. Now this is her son here. This is a gelding. He is a 2.5-year-old gelding. He is by Coral Bambi. He is, I suppose, a rising 3-year-old. He'll be 3 after. Next spring he'll be a 3-year-old. So he is Luna's son and a half brother to Midnight here, the foal, who is May, June, July, August. So it's 4 months now, that foal. Oh yeah, and the foal is by Prince Richard. Now up here is the foal's half sister. She is by Prince Richard as well. She is a granddaughter of Luna here. She is out of Luna's first foal, who's down in Kerry. She is by Fairy Hill Paddy. So her mother is by Fairy Hill Paddy. She is by Prince Richard. And this boy here is a 1.5-year colt, and he is a full brother to Moonshine. That's her name there, Moonshine. So that is the carry on. And this lady here then, yeah, we spoke about her. So I have them all together. I did have the 2 mares. Oh yeah, and this lady is back in foal to Coral Bambi, and my filly over there is in foal to the same stallion as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it'll be good to be able to judge the 2 different foals out of the same stallion, out of 2 different mares. Coral Bambi he's in his early 20s. He was a dun stallion, but he's gone grey now, only recently. So he was done for a long time. The Connemaras tend to go grey. There's an awful lot of them grey. They're 40 shades of grey. So anything other than grey is a kind of a novelty, and they sell well. What do you think, girl? This lady here gave me an awful lot of trouble loading her up the other day. I brought out the mare and I brought out the filly. I had them fairly well done. I put this lady into the box first, and then I brought out the mother. And the foal was not on for coming out at all, so I had to go in and try and catch the foal. Now the foal has not been haltered. You can see now that she has a halter on her now, a head collar. So I'm going to start leading her now and get her halter broken, which means that she'll stand quietly with me and be able to be led around the field. So that is the plan with her. So that's what I'm at the minute, but she gave me a bit of trouble the last day. I was on my own. I should have really having a bit of help, but I didn't. So she misbehaved. She was a bit nervous about she didn't like coming off grass onto concrete, and there was a bit of a drain going across the gap, and she didn't like that either. She wouldn't come out. How are you, girl? Look at that. She's super quiet, but she's skittish as well. So let me just get a look at her there. I'm very fond of that filly. Now she's normally super quiet, but we had a row, didn't we, girl? There we are. We had a row the last day, so we're just making friends again now. All right, my girl. Now I haven't caught her with that head collar out here loose yet. I'm going to get a long lunging lead, which is super long. It'll be about this distance out here, and clip it onto her and let her kick up a fuss. And eventually I'll get in tight to her, and she'll start to walk with me around the field. So that is the plan. So as I said, Luna here was a little bit shook after the winter. She had a bit of an infection in her hoof. It cured. I'll show you here the way it's grown out. You can see the hole here underneath that there, is it? Which leg was that? Oh, the far side, yeah. But yeah, it burst out through the top. It went up through her hoof and came out just under the connemara band, which is there, but in the front. And the hoof has grown down since, so you can see the crack that's in the hoof. Where are you, Luna? There you go, it's right down to the bottom now. Anyhow, I'm not to give them a heap of apples. So there's my cattle. My cattle are very used to the ponies now at this stage, but as I say, the ponies can tend to run them through wires and be bowled. So we're going to have to always have a bit of a wire between them. But they will serve a real good purpose now. I didn't do any topping this year as such. I did a little bit early in the year, but it grew back just as quick. So the plan is now for the winter time. I'm already on winter mode. I'm going to move the cattle on ahead, and every day moves for the ponies as well. Now that's my phone buzzing. Who's at the texting? Ah, yeah. You won't worry about him. So that's the carry on. Right, let's wheel around. Now, sorry for the shaky cam, but because I have them few apples on the ground, they're starting to be bowled. So the ponies or the cattle are going to go down now to this area here. They have been on this for the last 12 hours, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're going to run a wire right across there, and they're going to have both sides of that hedge for the next 12 hours. Anything more than time. What's going on here? Luna's not on for sharing them apples, that's all I know. Maybe I'll throw them around the place in a minute. So I'm going to make up a bit of fence and I'll be back. So actually, before I do that, this is... What's that bullock at? This is... I had them... Where did I have them? I had them on the... I had a fence down the middle here, and they were on that side for the last day and a half. So because I'm short of fence, I took out the middle fence here, and they have this bigger area. They'll be on this, the ponies themselves, for the next 24 hours, and then they'll be in the woods there, or in that ditch the day after, as soon as the cattle start making their way on down through that field there. So yeah, they're not doing much eating of the rushes, but they will as the year goes on, as the year ends into the winter time and over into the spring. They'll be still following the cattle, and they should clean up a lot better that time of the year. So there is my cattle, a little walk on through. Here is our runty crew. These are the 2 stunties that are sucking on the smallest cow we have, her in there, but she's doing well. Look, they're not growing well, but sure, they'll be all right. There's the 2 ruby calves. Look at the difference, massive difference. What is going on? This lady behind me is giving out over these apples. Let me kick these away. Luna, you're as bowled. No, there's lots of fibre for you. Look at that. Luna, you've definitely improved. So as I say, the 2 of them are gone back in fold to Coral Bambi, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this lady turns out. I'm very happy with her. She'll probably be a grey. Her father was a dun. Buckskin. Right, I'll be back in a sec. So I have my fence up. I'm about to go up now and let the cattle in, but I'm just after walking through. We're now coming on to what I used to call, and still do, the experimental field. Now I think I did top this place maybe once early in the year. I remember actually I was topping it, and there was a young calf hiding in the rushes down here someplace. But this place, for those of you that don't know, was absolutely pure 100% rushes. Now, if you look now, the grass is really starting to compete here with them rushes, and I think them rushes are struggling. Especially the wet year we had last year, you would expect them to be really bad. Now, in places where the rushes weren't so bad, they kind of came back, or were strong this year, but this place was always wet. And you can actually see a big area there that they're actually completely gone. That was all rushes. This whole field was just a full big stand of rushes. So I'm very happy with that now. There's the cattle up there, and there's my ponies. I'm short a few fences. I'm trying to remember where I left the fence down that I should have lifted, and I think I do know where there is one. So I'm going to go and lift that and come back and let these in. But before I do that, look at that. The grass is as tall as the rushes, and the rushes are as tall as that peg, that post. Them rushes that are there are ideal now for the cows to nip at, and especially the ponies. The ponies should be anxious for them. Once they go kind of brown on the tops, you have to kind of wait till the hunger kicks in the winter time for them to eat them off. But the cows will nip them green ones, and especially the Connemara pony. Not so much the likes of that now, but the young green ones, this year's growth. So I better go up. The sun is shining lovely. We had a few showers. The grass is kind of wet, but we have a few showers, and it's lovely and sunny now. There's a big old shower to pass by, but there's definitely still heat in that sun. I'll be back. Come on. No, they're still very slow to move. They're full today. I haven't been moving them twice a day, but I've been moving them more often than one day, if you know what I mean. So it could be 18 hours, every 18 hours, but yeah, so they're full this morning. Anyhow, I left them into this area late last night, so I'm leaving them in earlier today, so that's what I mean by less than a full day. Come on. I hope this is coming out now. The camera or the screen is a bit quieter. Go on in, Jasper. I've been calling him Ruby lately. I meant to call him Jasper. Now. Come on. Maverick, will you stop the messing? Giddy. Go on, get in. That lady there turned out a lovely heifer. Her mother was a little bit thin. I saw her last year, but I have seen what she looks like now, her mother, and she's doing really well. A friend of mine over in Sligo bought her Leitrim, but I'm very pleased with how her calf has turned out. So she is now in calf to Jasper here. So they're on this bit of ground for the next. It won't be tomorrow morning. It'll probably be around this time tomorrow maybe. Could be a little bit earlier, or could be a little bit later, but I'll come up in the morning and I know when I see it what condition or what way it's off, and if they need to be moved tomorrow morning, I'll move them tomorrow morning. If I reckon I can get another half day out of it, I'll leave it another half day. But that's the story. So I have lots of grass ahead of them. I'm very happy with the growth behind me now as well. So I'm going to go up and look at my ponies one last time, and then I'll go away. So up this top end is where the cattle tend to do most of their sleeping and lying down, and they've done most of their shiting up here as well. It's amazing how the ponies literally love that stuff. That dirty old grass that the cattle have walked all over. They have no problem wooling out of it. And no harm to them at all. What parasites affect cattle doesn't affect ponies, I think. Well, they definitely don't like to eat near their own dung, ponies. They're very tidy that way. A cow will kind of fire it everywhere. Whereas ponies kind of have selective areas where they'll dung and areas where they'll eat up. So they're very clean animals, really. That's why they kind of destroy land when they're left on it too long. They'll eat the clay and they'll leave another area completely full of dung, and it'll grow up into hayseed and just be left lying there. So definitely when you mix up animals, it's definitely a good idea for land. So keep these moving or they'll destroy it. Definitely more so than even cattle. Ponies can wreck land very easy. So that is the carry on. I'm going to go now. Gather up a bit of a fence. Double check on the cattle. And go home. So that is our little update on our ponies and our cattle mixed together. So for now, I'll say good luck and goodbye.